Good morning. Monday morning, June 15. June 15th, already through the middle of June. Time is going by. Every year passes just a little bit faster than the last, doesn't it? Wendy, good morning. There's my mom, good morning. Good to see you all this morning. Karen Perry, good morning, good to see you this morning. Brandy, Lori Chase. There's Jan, welcome this morning. I love seeing all these names enter the comment section. Claudia and Bob, welcome. Sierra Para, good morning. Barbara. Hey, Sierra and Steve, happy anniversary today. Today is Sierra and Steve Para's 18th anniversary, if I think I've gotten that right. Wishing you guys well today. Steve and Andrea, welcome. Carmen Lego, welcome. Stephanie Ellis, good morning. Sally, good morning. It's so good to see your face. Yesterday we didn't have a conversation, but I saw your face out there. You're one of those, there's faces you gravitate toward when you're teaching on a Sunday morning and that are affirming. Sally, you just have one of those affirming faces. I appreciate you. Elka, no, yeah, Larissa. Well, here we go. My phone blanked out for a second. Larissa, I borrowed something that you posted this weekend for my message on Sunday, so appreciate you this morning. Mike and Joe, welcome. Brittany, George, welcome, all the way from Florida. Welcome, everybody. We are in Psalm 15 this morning. And Psalms, of all the Psalms, Psalm 15 is my least favorite Psalm. That's why we're covering it this morning. Debbie King, welcome. And I'll explain why, obviously. But it's funny because all of my adult life, ever since I've started studying the Psalms, I've done it regularly for the last couple of years, but obviously we've all studied the Psalms here and there, all of our believing life, right? And so, but here's the deal. Every time I would come to Psalm 15, I could not stand this psalm. It was because it's like a measuring stick. What it represented to me, anyway, a measuring stick of am I good enough? Because that's the question it asks. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Janisa. Welcome, everybody. We're in Psalm 15 today. Michaela Hooper is watching. Hey, good to see you this morning, Michaela. Welcome. We're in Psalm 15, my least favorite psalm, because I'm going to open it up. So if you're not already there, I'll read it to you. It's a Psalm of David, and it begins with, "O Lord, who shall sojourn in your tent?" Who's going to dwell in your tent? And who shall dwell on your holy hill? So it's asking the question, who's good enough? I mean, that's how my mind interprets this. Who is good enough to have a relationship with God? Who is good enough to dwell in the tent in the presence of God? Who measures up? And David answers the question. He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks truth in his heart. Now he's going to list all these virtues, okay, which I feel like the way he's writing it, that he embodies, that he feels pretty confident, like, yeah, that's me. I'm going to sing a song about my special relationship with God. Who really is good enough to be in the presence of God? Well, me. I am, David says. Hey, Barbara, good morning. So verse 2, who's able to have this great presence and live in the presence of God? He who walks blamelessly, does what is right, speaks truth in his heart, who does not slander with his tongue, does no evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, kept at a distance, but honors those who fear the Lord, who swears to his own hurt, In other words, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it no matter what. I'm a person of my word, and does not change, who does not put his money at interest. In other words, doesn't take advantage of people who are in need, and does not take a bribe against the innocent, who does not pervert justice, right? And he who does these things shall never be moved. So you think, for most people reading Psalm 15, that's probably a pretty good psalm, right? I mean, you don't look at it the way I look at it. So this whole idea of doing morning devotions is built upon the premise, as far as like my interaction, that I'm already doing, my study in Psalms, and it's not really a study of Psalms. It's more of my reflection time and just aligning my heart with God for the day and hearing from Him, listening to Him. So what you get, it varies. Sometimes I feel like I teach the psalm, but sometimes it's like this morning is more along the lines of what God is teaching me. And the reason I chose Psalm 15 is because of the fact that when I get to Psalm 15, I always skip, go into the next one. I don't like Psalm 15. Why? Because it represents a list of virtues that are qualifications for those who can just enjoy an intimate relationship with God. And for me, not that it's not like those particular virtues are absent in my life. It's just that I have a particular personality that I've said this so many times, and I hope you don't get sick of it, but it's just true of myself, that I'm a recovering perfectionist. And because I am a recovering perfectionist, I have always had a very obnoxiously loud inner critic in my head, who is constantly pointing out all of the ways that I fall short in relationships with people, in my relationship with God in particular, in any way. And it's made me very driven to achieve. I need to be better. And so either I'm being driven to achieve, or I turn it off altogether and tune out and just numb out to the world. I'll watch a movie, engage in some activity that just numbs my mind a little bit, to kind of silence this inner critic a bit in my life. Now, thankfully, I'm not a perfectionist any longer, quote unquote. I am a recovering perfectionist. So what that means is I'm learning to challenge the voice of my inner critic, and I challenge that voice with truth. Say, okay, is that really true what you're telling me, little voice inside my head, or loud, obnoxious voice inside my head? Is that really true? And I don't know why I've never really challenged it so much before, but especially since my sabbatical and some of the inner work that I've been doing in my life, I'm learning and gaining tools to challenge this inner critic. And so when I would read Psalm 15, the inner critic would get out a megaphone and say, "You're not good enough. You don't measure up. Who's gonna dwell on God's holy hill? Who's gonna be in His tent and enjoy this great relationship? Not you." That's just how this psalm appeared to me. And so why am I talking about it today? Well, with anything, when you work on something in your life, and I've been very diligent, especially in this past year. It's been almost exactly 1 year since I've started my sabbatical, and this is where the work really started. I really started working hard at this stuff. I feel like, okay, let's read Psalm 15. It was in my scheduled part of the reading. I initially read it when I looked at the date today, Psalm 15 or June 15, and I thought, oh, that means I have to start with Psalm 15. Gonna skip that. That was really my thought this morning. But I thought, no, I need to read that. Let's reacquaint myself with that psalm and just put my fingers on my own pulse here, spiritually, emotionally. How am I doing? And you know what? To my great delight, the inner critic was absent. He was silent. I was so grateful, so amazed. And the reason I'm saying this to you, and I'm not really commenting on Psalm 15 and of itself, in particular, as much as just reporting on the progress that God is doing in my life that I hope is maybe relatable in some way. And that if you're working at something and you're speaking truth to yourself over a period of time, you are going to experience progress. You're going to experience growth. And for me, and I've said this before, for forever, I wouldn't really put it into words, but I've learned to put it into words because it sounds crazy. But my relationship with God was based and built upon disappointment. Let me explain. I've explained this before, but that I felt like God was always disappointed with me because I could never measure up. I could never, God would look down from heaven and see Mark Johnson and say, wow, Mark, I've given you so many opportunities. I've given you my very spirit to dwell in you. I've given you my word. I've given you voices of people all around you speaking truth to you. When are you going to get it? When are you going to actually live out the life that I have for you? And my whole life, I would just be driven to try to live this out, what I had perceived in my mind, what God wanted from me. But I always felt like he was perpetually disappointed. And so it caused me to have kind of a, not really healthy relationship with God, though I was trying all the time. By golly, I'm in full-time Christian ministry. But if that's not trying, I don't know what is. And but I couldn't shake this feeling, and it would also cause me to feel shame, shame with my relationship with God, but then also shame with my relationship with other people, because I felt like because I wasn't, being a perfectionist isn't just about my relationship with God; it's with everything, right? So I feel like I would never measure up, and people wouldn't really like me if they really knew me, if they really knew the inner workings of my heart. And so quieting this inner critic this past year too has also really benefited me in relationships. That I can be more present, that I'm not second guessing everything that I'm doing or saying, or after a message like yesterday on Sunday morning, the whole afternoon on a Sunday afternoon, evening, I just would have this sinking ache in my gut that just wasn't good enough. And so here's my progress, because I'm getting long here. Going from what my sabbatical did for me, and the inner work that I was doing emotionally, it took me from having a relationship with God that I felt like it was totally disappointed with me all the time, to a place where God was compassionately inclusive. I'll say that. Where he was saying, hey, I love you. You're my child. I have this unique relationship with you. But I see all the shortcomings. But I see that you're also doing your best. So I'm okay. He looks at me with compassion and, poor guy, I know you're working hard. That's kind of as pathetic as that sounds, it was way better than God just up in heaven like this, so disappointed, and kind of the tisk, tisk, tisk. That's how I perceived God. Isn't this crazy? Anyway, so I was delighting this last fall in the idea that, like, God is compassionate. He doesn't expect anything from me other than my best. So I'm giving my best. So, wow, I'm enjoying just this compassionate inclusivity of my relationship with God, that I'm included, maybe on the outskirts, but I'm included in his circle, But I felt like God was really speaking to me later in the fall and in the turn of the year that, Mark, it's more than that. It's more than my being compassionately inclusive of you. I actually delight in you. I have a special relationship with you as my child. I delight in you. I have placed my favor upon you. And that, I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. I can't go there. No, not emotionally, not in my heart, right? And so, but I keep speaking truth. What does the word say? What do the Psalms say? How am I, as I journal and stuff, I keep speaking truth to my inner critic. And I'll just say, so the reason I'm talking about Psalm 15 this morning is, as I read Psalm 15, I truly, and I'm experiencing this more and more in my own life, as I've embraced these truths and challenged the voice of my inner critic, that God, for all believers, not just me, I'm just talking about in first person me, but for you, for every single person who has placed their faith in Jesus, the Bible tells us that God places his favor on you. He delights in you. He does this not because you are good. The Bible says actually to the opposite of that he initiated this relationship with you while you were a sinner, while you were an enemy of the cross. God initiated this relationship with you. So it's not based upon our goodness that we have that God's favor resting upon us. It's because of the relationship itself. God has created this unique relationship with us that he takes great delight in. And I liken this to my own relationship with my own daughters. And the Bible tells me this truth as well, that even if me, being a limited, flawed father, can take such delight in my own children because of the unique relationship I have with them, because they are my daughters. I feel like God's saying this to me. Mark, can't I, the perfect father, take delight in you? You don't expect your daughters to be perfect, to do everything right. That's not why you take delight on them. You take delight on them because they're your daughters. And that's, I believe, the message that God is speaking to me. And it just takes time to really let that sink in because of so many years of the inner critic, being the big voice in my life. And so I just want to report in, hopefully as a way of encouragement to you, that reading Psalm 15 was kind of a landmark for me this morning, to say, wow, I can read that without any self-condemnation. So, you've been welcomed into the crazy life of Pastor Mark. But the reality is this, that God loves us. He takes great delight in us for nothing more than because of the relationship that he has initiated with us and he maintains. And we have received his special grace, his special favor. He takes great delight in us. And we need to challenge any other voice. We need to do our best. We need to walk before him and seek him and continually submit our will to his will. Yeah, I mean, I assume you understand all of those things. But we're not going to do it perfectly. And our heart is going to be wayward at times. But that doesn't stop God from pursuing and delighting in this relationship that he has forged through his son, Jesus Christ, in us. That is such the amazing nature of being a Christian, to have this relationship with God through Jesus Christ. And if you're experiencing anything less than what you hope to experience as a believer, then you're not experiencing everything we ought to be experiencing as a believer. And there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. I'm not broken. We just have to grow. We just have to learn to speak truth to our own heart and let that marinate in us until it becomes our experiential reality. So God bless you guys today. Enjoy this relationship you have with God today, and be blessed as his child in whom he takes great delight. Love you guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow.